Welcome, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to watch the application workshop for the Google.org AI for Global Goals call for applications. Closed captions are available in English. To turn the captions on, please select the CC button on the media player. Please view the description box below the video for the link to the presentation materials. Additional information, including frequently asked questions and the application terms, can be found on our website, which is g.co/AI/global goals. We're so excited you can join us today. This workshop is geared towards any organization submitting a proposal to the Google.org AI for the Global Goals call for applications. In our time together, we hope to shed some light on how to submit a strong and well-crafted application. Throughout this presentation, you can submit questions in English through the chat function, and we'll try to answer as many questions as possible during the workshop. We strongly encourage our audience to read the FAQs on our website before asking questions. I'll kick off the introductions today. My name is Alex Diaz, and I am a senior manager at Google.org.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carla Palmer, and I'm a program associate here at Google.org. It's really great to be with you all.
We'll start the workshop today by going over the mission of Google.org. Then, we will provide some context on why we're hosting this call for applications and some of our previously funded projects in this space. After that, we'll dive into our eligibility and evaluation criteria with some tips to keep in mind. Finally, we'll wrap up the workshop with some final reminders before you hit the submit button. Google.org is Google's philanthropy arm. Our mission is to bring the best of Google to help solve some of humanity's biggest challenges, combining funding, innovation, in-kind giving, and technical expertise to support underserved communities and provide opportunity for everyone. Our philosophy is to seek the best answers from those closest to the problem, which is why we're looking for big ideas from those most closely connected to communities in need to define the problem and the solution. Every year, we award more than $200 million to organizations across the globe to support social impact projects and connect organizations with our technology and people to tackle complex social challenges. Next, Carla will share some background as to why we're hosting this call for applications.
The Google.org AI for the Global Goals call for applications is a $25 million commitment to fund projects that use AI to accelerate progress towards the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Around the world, we know that nonprofits and social enterprises are making progress towards these targets, and that AI has the power to accelerate their efforts. Selected organizations will receive funding along with access to Google's technical expertise and products to build a fairer, greener, better world. This is one of the biggest Google.org open calls that we've run to date and builds on our long-standing commitment to AI for social good and the success of the Google.org AI Impact Challenge in 2018. Before we discuss the call for applications further, let's take a step back and talk about the global goals. In 2015, the UN developed Sustainable Development Goals to serve as the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all by 2030. These 17 goals address the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. As we near the halfway point on these goals, it's clear that the global community has made great strides, but the COVID-19 pandemic set back further progress in many ways, and we still have a long way to go. At Google, we believe that artificial intelligence can provide new ways of approaching problems and meaningfully improve people's lives. In our work with nonprofits, universities, governments, and others, we've seen that AI can have the time and resources needed to make progress against their goals. And since 2018, Google.org has been funding projects who share this vision. In 2018, we issued an open call to organizations around the world to submit their ideas for how they could use AI to help address societal challenges. We received over 2,600 applications from 119 countries spanning 6 continents, with projects ranging from environmental to humanitarian topics. From these applications, we selected 20 organizations to support through funding, Google Cloud Credit, a customized Google for Startups accelerator program, pro bono fellowships, and connections with internal experts. Through this challenge, we were able to support projects that use AI-powered tools to track air quality and pollution, use bioacoustic monitoring to detect immediate deforestation threats, and connect people in transition to education and job opportunities, and more. To bring our examples to life, we're excited to dive into two of our previous recipients, the Trevor Project and Rainforest Connection.
Let's start with the Trevor Project, which offers free, confidential crisis services for LGBTQ youth via phone, chat, and text. Since 2019, Google.org has provided $2.7 million in funding and looped in teams of pro bono Google.org fellows to help the Trevor Project introduce new cloud AI applications to better triage incoming messages and train new counselors remotely. You can see an example of the queue triage flow on the right side of the screen. With this new queue bifurcation model, the Trevor Project was able to answer high-risk texts 79% faster than before. Trevor has been a key partner in sharing thoughtful insights on implementing responsible and socially beneficial AI.
Now let's watch a video about the Rainforest Connection and their application of AI to stop illegal deforestation. And then we'll talk about the impact of their work.
A floresta para nós é tudo na vida. A invasão traz a devastação, acaba com tudo que tem na floresta, acaba a floresta em si. A gente monitorava fiscalizando a pés, esbarrando com os invasores, aí nós tínhamos vários problemas, vários conflitos. Morreu parente da gente, morto pelos pistoleiros ainda. E isso começou a marcar na nossa vida. No correr do tempo a gente foi buscando o mecanismo. O entorno aqui, eu acho que nós temos 30% ainda que ainda falta nós dominar dessa parte da área.
Would it be easier for us to do that by focusing on the perimeter?
O Toffoli, quando ele veio a primeira vez, veio ouvir a gente qual era a nossa necessidade e a gente ficou se perguntando, será se de fato ele vai conseguir fazer alguma coisa porque nós estamos querendo?
The Tembe people are an amazing example of a people that's trying to preserve their forest. They are well organized, they're well educated, are not afraid to use different tools, new technologies. They're looking for collaboration, they're not looking for help. People on the ground in these places, they're the solution. They're the ones who can actually really fight off deforestation, but technology can play a really big part in helping them do it more safely and more effectively.
O Toffoli está trabalhando muito num sistema de monitoramento para que a gente possa ter esse controle e passar para as autoridades a necessidade que nós temos. Ou melhor dizer, facilitar as nossas denúncias.
And all you have to do is just be kind of precise with this one here, because the antenna is both fragile and sensitive. You want to put the microphone on there. Yeah, that's good. Old cell phones are available to almost anybody all the time. And these aren't trash. These are actually really, really powerful little computers. They can connect to the networks that are there. They can record the sound. They can do all this great processing. The hard parts, of course, have to do with making it possible to power them and making sure they can actually pick up sounds from a great distance. But all these are things that you can do with pretty standard electronics.
Cool.
Pronto.
Pronto.
Here we go. Gatu. The Tembe themselves have at most 30 rangers, 30 warriors that are able to sort of patrol the area and take responsibility for protecting it. And yet we're talking about an area that's huge. And that's where this ability for us to be able to listen to parts of the forest 24/7, it really increases the efficiency and the safety of the entire operation for them. And that's a really critical tool given what they're up against. No person could be able to detect the chainsaw at a kilometer away, given how loud and how noisy and how complex the sound really is. So we're actually using an open source machine learning tool, TensorFlow, that's able to detect a logging truck, the sounds of birds or animals or chainsaws in the forest. It's amazing what they can actually find that we cannot even hear. And it can send a real-time alert to the rangers, to the guards, to the chiefs, so they can decide how to respond.
O sistema vai acusar onde é que está tendo problema. Aí não tem aquele tempo de correr para estar fiscalizando meses e meses, como a gente fazia antes. Quer dizer, nós ter mais tempo para nossa cultura, ter mais tempo para nossa família, ter mais tempo para sobreviver. Um povo sem cultura não é ninguém. O nosso sonho é de ter nossa floresta em pé, preservada, que nós não deixe para os nossos filhos, nossos netos, os problemas que nós estamos tendo hoje. Nosso sonho é viver em paz, como antigamente, como nós vivíamos.
As you saw in the video, Rainforest Connection develops acoustic monitoring technology that uses AI to protect vulnerable ecosystems by detecting threats like illegal logging in real time. The solar powered acoustic devices used for threat detection transmit audio to the cloud. Then AI analyzes and classifies the data collected to detect signals like chainsaws, vehicles, and gunshots that could alert ground partners of potential threats. At the same time, the devices monitor the biodiversity of a given area to better inform conservation action, tracking the presence of hundreds of species. Rainforest Connection has monitored more than 144,000 hectares across 32 countries. Having collected 76 million minutes of audio data, they've identified over 2,700 species around the world. With all of this information, they're helping partners protect rainforests from threats and monitor biodiversity to inform conservation action. Of course, these are just two illustrative examples. We know that your projects and solutions range far and wide, and we can't wait to feel inspired by your ideas. We hope by sharing these two stories, we're able to paint a better picture of the type of impactful and scalable projects we're looking for. In the next section, we'll discuss eligibility and highlight each of our evaluation criteria and tips for your application.
Thanks, Carla. There are a few eligibility requirements to apply to the Google.org AI for Global Goals call for applications. A frequently asked question that we get is whether we can determine an organization's eligibility. Unfortunately, Google.org cannot determine your eligibility ahead of your application. Therefore, please ensure you review the application terms and the frequently asked questions on our website before submitting an application. The criteria for eligibility are as follows. First, you must be a not-for-profit charity, other not-for-profit organization, public or private academic or research institution, or for-profit social enterprise company with a project that has an explicit charitable purpose. Second, projects that could qualify as having a charitable purpose include projects that are primarily research, scientific, or education focused, or projects that benefit a charitable class in your community, country, or world, projects that have significant and direct impacts to preserve and protect the environment for the benefit of the public. Third, your organization must have a registered office in your country of residence. Organizations or projects located in the countries that you see on screen are not eligible to apply. Fourth, individuals or projects without organizational affiliation are also ineligible to apply. And finally, all applications must be submitted in English. The full application terms are available at our website, g.co/ai/global goals. So please ensure you have read through the entire document before submitting your application.
Now, on to the evaluation criteria. We have four major criteria for this challenge: impact, scalability and sustainability, feasibility, and data and responsibility. We've structured our application questions by these 4 criteria, so you will always know what we're evaluating in every section. Within each section, we encourage you to consider and address considerations like, how does the application of AI in your project accelerate progress towards the global goals, break through barriers, or reduce inefficiencies? If your project is successful, what are your plans to scale beyond your initial proposal? Does your team have a well-developed and realistic plan to execute the project? And do you have the technical expertise needed to apply AI in your solution? And last but not least, does the use of AI in your project align with Google's AI principles and responsible AI practices?
On the theme of impact, here are some tips to keep in mind when filling out the application. Tip number 1 is tell us why your proposal will be effective in tackling a critical problem related to the global goals. Wherever possible, please add relevant research, trends, and data points to help us understand why the problem is urgent. Once you've clearly articulated the problem you're tackling, make sure to describe how your proposed solution directly addresses this problem and the impact you hope to achieve. The tip here is to include clear, quantifiable metrics to show how you will measure your project's impact. These quantifiable metrics are also synonymous with key performance indicators, or KPIs. Some examples of KPIs could include the projected reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, the number of people reached, or the economic damage averted by your proposed solution. Additionally, demonstrate how your project is different from previous or similar approaches and how you believe it will lead to transformational impact. Help us understand why your project is an amazing idea.
After impact, it's all about scalability and sustainability. In addition to the outcomes of your project, we're also interested in the ability for your project's impact to grow and scale. For example, could your project scale directly, serve as a model for other efforts, or advance the field? How do you plan to share what you've learned from your project with others in the community? What are your plans for sustaining funding beyond Google.org's potential support? Does your project bring new technology to the climate space? Will your project help us understand our changing climate or how we think about climate problems as a whole? With this evaluation criteria, we're looking for you to show us a preview of the incredible reach your project can achieve.
This brings us to our third criteria, feasibility. An idea is just an idea unless there is a realistic plan to make it happen. In this section, we're assessing your organization's capacity to address the problem you are trying to solve. Our first tip is to showcase your thinking behind your team. In questions 32 and 33 of the application, describe why your team is so specifically best suited to take on your project. Why is your team the most credible? We'd love to see how you connect the expertise of team members to the core needs of your project. Our second tip here is to collaborate with other organizations if it's appropriate. We welcome and encourage collaboration, especially between technical and social sector experts. We know that this may not be practical for all solutions, but we highly encourage you to consider it if you see an opportunity for another organization to add to your expertise and capabilities. Please note, only one organization may be the applicant of record, but there is an opportunity in the application to specify the partners who will be critical to your work.
While applications of AI show great promise, we know that these technologies raise important challenges. So when it comes to data and responsibility, we have 2 tips to help your application stand out. Tip number 1 is to showcase how your proposal uses AI in an innovative way to support your solution. Again, we recommend that you include relevant metrics where possible. Another great way to demonstrate your expertise is to complete the optional AI module in the application. Even though it's optional, we highly encourage you to take the time to complete it. Our second tip is to carefully review Google's AI principles and responsible AI practices and ensure your project's use of AI is in alignment with these resources. Consider how your data sets may be biased and how you plan to mitigate these challenges.
The last major part of the application is a video submission. In 90 seconds, we hope you can present your idea and bring it to life. The structure of the video is up to you and should answer the following questions. What problem are you trying to solve and why does it matter? What is your proposed solution? What would the impact of your project be? How do you apply technology in an innovative way? Why is your organization uniquely positioned to successfully implement your proposal?
We love watching the videos as we'll be able to see the passion you have for your project. And the video is truly a combination of all the criteria we're evaluating. When making this video, here are some things to keep in mind. Number one, please make sure your video is no longer than 90 seconds. Number two, this is your opportunity to show us what makes you excited about your solution. And last but not least, we will not evaluate videos based on the production quality. Again, the video is meant as an opportunity to bring your proposal to life and does not need to be highly edited or produced. Videos filmed on a smartphone are definitely acceptable. To make sure you're able to capture all the things you want to say in the video, we suggest writing your talking points beforehand and practicing before you film.
To close off, we'd like to share some final tips and reminders. If applicable, we encourage partnerships and collaboration between multiple organizations to achieve large-scale impact. As you're completing the application, consider your organization's strengths and gaps and how you could potentially fill the gaps with partners or other collaborators. Remember that only one organization may be the applicant of record, and if your project is selected to receive funding, the applicant organization will be the recipient of the funding. We strongly recommend that you apply early by November 12th for priority consideration. Though submissions will continue to be reviewed on a rolling basis, we will close the application once all recipients have been selected. Please refrain from using technical or industry jargon. Please write in simple language to make your proposal compelling to all readers, no matter the reader's background. Also, as a reminder, the project should not fund the purchase of Google products or services, or primarily support Google or its users. If you do plan to use paid Google products with other sources of funding, or Google products that are available for free, it is acceptable to describe the type of technology, but please use product-agnostic descriptions since use of Google products is not expected or required. Applications must be submitted in English, as post-funding support will be conducted in English. We unfortunately will not be accepting applications in any other languages. The responses in the application form cannot be saved for later completion. Therefore, we strongly recommend drafting your responses in a separate document first and only completing the form when the entire application is ready for submission. A PDF copy of the application questions can be found on our website. Please do not submit any confidential or proprietary information. The details of your project proposal may be shared with internal or external partners and experts for review. And finally, additional information such as the application terms, FAQs, and a workshop recording can all be found on our website, g.co/ai/global goals.
The call for applications is now open, and you can find a link to the application on our website. Applications will be reviewed on a rolling basis, and the application window will remain open until all selections are made. Priority consideration will be given to applications received by 12 p.m. GMT on the 12th of November, 2022. As we are funding applications on a rolling basis, we highly encourage you to apply early. After November 12th, the application will remain open and submissions will be reviewed on a rolling basis. However, we will close the application once we've selected our recipients. So again, we encourage you to apply early by November 12th. If there's one thing we want you to take away from this workshop, it is that our website, g.co/ai/global goals, is the most valuable and up-to-date resource. It includes the link to the official application portal and a preview of the application questions, so you can draft your responses prior to starting the application. The website also includes important information on application terms, frequently asked questions, and examples of previously funded organizations. We'll also refresh the website as the Google.org AI for the Global Goals call for applications progresses to bring you the latest information.
Thank you so much for attending our workshop today. We hope that you found this session useful and will consider incorporating some of the tips we shared today. We can't wait to receive your application and hear about your amazing project. Good luck.